Protests over the death of Daniel Prude continued overnight and into the early morning.
Dozens of protesters rallying outside the Public Safety building. Police used pepper balls to disperse the crowd. Protesters were calling for justice after the death of Daniel Prude, who died after being taken into police custody back in March. And Josh Navarro is live this morning, and it's a much quieter scene there this morning, right, Josh?
Good morning, Mark and Leah. That is right. It is a lot quieter right out here in front of the Public Safety building. There are two protesters still here. I just wanted to mention that RPD just told us about a few minutes ago that two police officers were injured during these protests. They were hospitalized, treated, and released. Again, two officers were injured during these protests that happened late last night. So let's get to that video and let you know what happened. Protesters were shouting at police officers here and kneeling on the ground and creating a human chain. All this because of how dissatisfied the whole arrest went down for Daniel Prude. Now, before protesters arrived here at the Public Safety building, they were over at Jefferson Avenue, where Reverend Lewis Stewart called for a remembrance vigil and a discussion about Prude's death. Early in the day, he called for those police officers to be fired, arrested, and prosecuted. He also called for an independent investigation into Prude's death. The police chief and the mayor were present during the discussion as many protesters showed up, shouting at Reverend Stewart, demanding to speak with the police chief. A frustration building up in the community within the last couple of days since Prude's death came into light.
They haven't done nothing. They haven't done nothing. I am the power. You come to me now. You come to my table.
They must be accountable, Lovely. They must be fired. They must be charged. This is not right.
What we have to remember that we're all here together for one purpose, to get along and help one another.
And there were 8 people that were arrested during last night's protest. Some of their charges range from disorderly conduct to resisting arrest, and it's highly likely more protests will happen going into the weekend. For now, we're live in Rochester this morning. I'm Josh Navarro, News 8.
All right, Josh, thank you very much for